Welcome to Local Matters. I'm Elizabeth Shanahan-Jewett. Let's get started. Over the course of history, humans have cultivated food from over 6,000 plant species. Today, the breeding of new plant seeds is mostly controlled by corporations prioritizing efficiency, which means that currently just 9 plant species account for 66% of global crop production. This leaves our food system without the biodiversity it needs to withstand severe weather and disease. But you can do something about that. Save the seeds from your garden, helping to ensure your own future food security and an ecologically diverse planet. Here's a short Your Green Space to talk about how.
You can put them into a container and label them. All right, so the miracle of seeds. They're such a miracle. From a tiny little acorn, you get the mighty oak. From such tiny little things like the cosmos, we get the beautiful flowers. We have all different varieties of sunflowers, tall, small, different colors, poppies, hollyhocks, tall and short. We get so many beautiful things. So all you really need to do is make sure your seeds are dry, and then you can put them into a container and label them and keep them in a cool, dry space. You don't want to put them in the heat. They sometimes lose their viability if they're hot, but they can be refrigerated or frozen to remain viable. Or get up to even at room temperature, but you want to keep them dry and cool. This is what happens if you don't dry them. You get a little problem. These are just all covered with mold. So you want to make sure they're dry, and you can put them into any kind of container. These are little paper bags. You can use an envelope like this. So corn is an easy one to pull off. It's really a fun one to get off the cob. And you want to make sure it's nice and dry before you really save it. So the reason that it's so important to be saving seeds now is that we may not be able to get what we want. There were shortages this year just because so many people were planting and the companies weren't prepared to supply so many seeds to so many people. In addition to that, there are big companies that are genetically modifying seeds so that they cannot be reused. Of course, they want us to buy everything from them. So it may be that we will have to do this to get the varieties we want, because they're not saving everything, and they're not doing much about saving heritage seeds either. So we want to be trying to get the seeds we want, get them saved, and be able to use them when we want to. I'm remembering a quote by Chief Sitting Bull, who said, "Let us gather together and sit and think about how our future generations will be." And I'm also thinking of a quote that was attributed to many different people. I don't know who it came from. It could be the Greeks or the Romans or Confucius. He said, if you want to think about today, plant a flower. If you want to think about 10 years from now, plant a tree. If you want to think about the future, teach the children. And we have with us today Christine, who, while we were at the farm at Colchester, she brought a group of homeschoolers to the farm for 2 seasons. And they brought a wonderful, delightful energy and a vibration to the farm while they were there.
One of the reasons that I brought the kids to the farm, and one of the reasons why I'm an outdoor educator, is because I really feel there's a strong need to connect children with the land. And for many of us, when we were young, we roamed and we played in the woods, and we developed a love of place. And with children inside so much more, they're not developing that. And the earth really needs people who are connected to it. What you don't know, you don't love. And what you don't love, you don't protect. What you don't protect, you don't save. The time is now to really get out there and connect, and don't let perfection rule that. Any bit of planting, any walk in the woods, any bit of connection. You don't need to live on a farm. You don't need to have a farm. Elements are all around us. Soil and water and sun are all around us. And so go for it.
The Salvation Army is committed to feeding neighbors in need with their 2022 Grab and Go program. On the last Tuesday of every month from 4:30 to 6 p.m., drive up to the Salvation Army parking lot located at 52 Long Pond Road in Plymouth, where you will stay in your car, be greeted with a smile and a hot meal to go. This month's grab-and-go date is January 25th, and this month's dinner menu is sausage with roasted peppers, potato chips, and a dessert. All are welcome. For more information, visit the Salvation Army Facebook page or call 508-746-1559. Pop-Up Art is a traveling art school created by two best friends and teachers who have taught over 500 classes at libraries and after-school programs throughout the Southshore. On February 10th, from 3 to 4:30 p.m., join the Duxbury Free Library and Pop-Up Art School for an afternoon of art for ages 13 to 18. You'll create a felted fox using various felting techniques. This event will take place in the library's Merry Room. Register through the Duxbury Free Library website. In 2020, the local scene sat down with local artist Franklin Marval to discuss how tragedy inspired his movement of hope. Franklin Marval is a local artist, graphic designer, and social activist. A native of São Tomé, Venezuela, his exuberant art is informed and inspired by both his homeland and his community here in Massachusetts. Franklin has started a movement with a message and spoke to the local scene about how the tragedy of the Boston bombing motivated him to use his art to create a message of hope.
The More Life is Okay movement. It sounds like something. So, I mean, like, everything started a few years ago. And after the Boston bombing. And a year after of that tragedy, I went with my whole family. And they closed the finish line so you can walk. And when I was walking through the street, I was like, we were feeling that, I would say, sadness, and we will revive everything. I mean, during that moment, and I was like, wow, it feels really bad. And while we were walking, we were like, okay, I mean, we knew that this is not a good thing, and we were thinking on the positive side. So, what can we do to make it better? What can we do to avoid this to happen again, right? And I was like, this is not okay, and crime is not okay, violence is not okay. And I was like, more love is okay, more hearts are okay. And everything started from there. And in that moment, I went to my studio at night, and I was like, you know what, I wanna do something for the city. And then I took one of my paintings. I paint hearts, and I was, you know what, I wanna make something. I wanna put it on somewhere. And then I went to Newbury Street. There is at the end of the Newbury Street, there is a wall that everybody, posts, like posters, events, and a lot of things. And I was, you know what, I'm gonna put a heart that it was framed on a gold frame, and to make it, like, to preserve it. I mean, when you love something and you care for somebody or for something, you preserve it, you take care of it. And I went and I put one of my gold frames. I took a photograph of the gold frame, and then a painting. I put it together, and I created a sticker, and I put it on one of the doors there, and I stayed there for 2 years without saying anything. I mean, it was there. It was my signature, but it was there. And the city, every few months, they go and clean the whole wall, but the heart was there. They repaint everything around, but the heart was there. I was like, wow. That's the way you see that it gives you a feedback right away. That more hearts, more love, more kindness, more positive things are good. And there is a heart. It's not just a heart. It's a heart. It goes around twice to make sure that everybody is incorporated. It's that simple. It represents community. That's why you see those two circles around. But basically it goes like this. It goes around, 1, 2, and then close. And by doing that, we are incorporating everybody. It's a heart that is inclusive. Right now, I'm working with one of the middle school in Weymouth, and we are creating a painting, and it's being painted by a total of, I would say, 150 students. So every student stops at the painting for maybe 5 or 7 minutes, and they paint something. And so far, we are in the 50% of the process. Tomorrow, we're going to finish it. So, and then you see that it's not just our students, it's everybody painting, all the students. Doesn't matter if you like painting or not, you are doing something, you are giving something, and you are being part of this. And the school is going to preserve the painting. And I mean, it gives you a lot. So even for the students, they're going to feel that they belong there.
Franklin's commitment to using art to build community and raise social consciousness travels across continents, from collaborative projects in Massachusetts to his native Venezuela, a country which has endured great suffering.
What was first is the question. Me being an artist or being socially conscious? I will say that I was an artist and that I was exposed to a lot of situations and cities and people. I mean, San Tomé, Valle de la Pascua, Caracas, Puerto La Cruz, and then we moved to the United States, and we went to Miami for 7 years, and then we came here to Massachusetts. And sad, but because we are away from Venezuela and everything related with going out of your place. But like I say, I have to look for the positive. And being still connected with Venezuela, and the bad situation in Venezuela is bad because of the government. And I'm an activist. I have to speak. If you want me to tell you exactly what is happening in Venezuela, I'm gonna say it. At first, I was afraid to mention something, but we have to speak up. We have to speak up, and that's why I have this heart that is say Venezuela libre, freedom for Venezuela. And like I say, by thinking positively, Venezuela is in a bad situation, but I went to Venezuela a year and a half, something like that, 2 years ago. And I saw it. And I was, okay, what are the things that I can do to make this better? I know it's bad. So I need to do something. And then I was talking with my sister, and I was like, my sister worked with kids in Venezuela. I was like, let's bring our classes to kids in Venezuela. Kids that doesn't have any type of resources. And I have one of the posters that I use. I went to Venezuela and I created a workshop for them for 3 days. It was amazing. So as soon as we finished the workshop, we were like, okay, how can we make this to continue? And it was hard to get the money to do that. But we did it. We brought classes for 7 months, our classes for 50 kids. Unbelievable. They were going to bed on Friday night, dreaming about Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon for the classes. They were like amazing. So I'm working on it to bring it this year too.
At the root of Franklin's artistic expression is always the heart, his own, the one he puts on canvas, or the heartfelt spirit animating his subject.
When I see an instrument that is a heart, I see a heart in there. And the heart is the people playing the instrument and the people that made the instrument. The heart has it's gonna be hard to pronounce this, ventricles. And I have a sketch of a heart where I play with the 4 parts. I use the fingers because the cuatro, it means that we have 4 strings. We as an artist, we try things. And because I'm being experimenting the music in my head now, I was like motivated to try something, trying to paint life while somebody's playing. There is something around that is beautiful, and only you can find that when you perform live. And I like it. If there is anybody out there that wants to paint live, just reach out, and if there is a stage, we'll do it.
Franklin says the goal of More Love is Okay is for people to read a simple, positive message with the hope of creating a more loving future. To contact Franklin or learn more about where to see his work, visit franklinmarval.com. Live Jazz is coming to the Plymouth Public Library. On March 7th at 6:30 p.m., the library presents A Night with Abe Ovadia, where he will play reimagined versions of classics from the American Songbook. Ovadia is a rising star of the New York jazz scene. He's a graduate of the Berklee School of Music and NYU, and is the founder of the Monmouth Music Academy in New Jersey. Critics describe him as one of the most innovative guitarists of our time. This live, in-person event will take place at the library's Phalo Room, where masks will be required. The concert will also be available via Zoom. To register, visit the Plymouth Public Library website. Are you a teen who wants to be a part of making the world a better place? The Kingston Public Library Youth Advisory Council provides volunteer and program opportunities for teens ages 12 to 18, with meetings that take place the first Monday of every month at 6:30 p.m. You'll be learning about ways to get involved in your community and the foundation for leadership skills in a warm, welcoming environment. Registration isn't required, but masks are. For more information, email kstacy@kingston.gov. The Southshore Foster Closet provides clothing and other much-needed items to foster families in our area. Julie Thompson talked with co-founder Sharon Collins to learn more about this nonprofit organization and the good that it is doing for foster families on the South Shore.
I'm so pleased to welcome today Sharon Collins, the founder of Southshore Foster Closet. Thank you for joining us today, Sharon. Before we get into what the Southshore Foster Closet is, I'd love to know about the foster care system itself is very complex, and unless people have been directly involved with it, they might not even understand it. So can you talk about your background with the foster system and how it ended up making you want to launch this wonderful initiative that you have?
Well, I myself am adopted. I was adopted as a young child, and both my siblings, I have a younger brother and sister, they were both adopted too. So it's always been part of our family. And as I grew and I moved out, my mom did her own fostering. So it's always been in my blood, so to speak. And I always wanted to be able to give back somehow. So I got divorced about 9 years ago, and I decided after I got divorced, I was going to get myself financially stable, buy a house, and I was going to then foster myself. So 7 years, it'll be 7 years in July, I started fostering. And as of today, 92 kids have come through my house. Some they stay the night, some stay the weekend, some stay a month, some have stayed 2.5 years right now, and the one that I have for 2.5 years, I'm in the final stages of adopting myself.
Wow.
So
you've had over 90 kids in and out of your home as a foster parent for very short amounts of time or long amounts of time since you started this 7 years ago. That's incredible.
Yes.
So you really see firsthand all the different aspects of fostering. And now, if you have someone for a short amount of time, it's a crisis situation, I would assume, that the child needs to be taken care of?
Many that come in the middle of the night. There might have been a car accident and there was children in the back seat and they can't go back, or there was some type of argument and the police were called. And then some of them just come during the day because it's just been decided that they can't stay with their mom and dad for some reason. It all depends. But most of them come with very little. They may just come with the clothes on their back. They may just come in a diaper. And I always, myself personally, would always have bins of clothes in my basement for when this happened. And then I came together with another foster parent, and we sat down and like, we got to do something about this, because not every foster parent has bins of clothes. Not every foster parent has clothes for babies to teenagers. And let's get something together, and let's help these foster parents. So we started the foster closet about almost 5 years ago, out of our basements, out of her basement and my basement, and we just bins of clothes for every age and gender, diapers, shoes, coats, and we just got the word out that we were collecting these things, and people just came. My driveway would be filled. My driveway is still usually filled. If it's you get a good sunny day, the side of my house is always filled with trash bags and bags of clothes. People just want to give. They just, and it's used clothes that they're going to get rid of anyway.
Right.
So this is started that way, and it grew so big that we kind of grew out of our basement, and we had a friend who helped us get a space at the local Duxbury Baptist Church in Duxbury. And we had a room there. And then last year we grew out of that as well. And the church offered us a house they had on their property. And it was recently renovated, and we've moved into the house so that we can continue to.
So that's your headquarters now for all your
foster
donations
families.
is the house. That's wonderful. Now, do the foster kids themselves get to come and kind of shop and look for things that they want, or is it more their parents that come,
Yes.
the foster parents that come?
On Mondays and Wednesdays, we're open in the evenings, and foster families, foster kids can come, and it's a store. We have racks of clothes, shoes, clothing, underwear, diapers, and here's a bag, take a couple bags and fill up these bags. And the looks on their faces is when the kids actually come is just amazing, because most of these kids, as I said, come with nothing, or what they have is holes and dirty. It just really, most of the time, it needs to be really thrown out. It wouldn't be something that you would want to wear, even go to rake your backyard on a Saturday afternoon.
Right.
And these kids wear these type of clothes every day.
So it's important that what is donated or what you put out for people to pick from is first quality. It's not things that have stains on them, and you could wear them, but you really shouldn't wear them out in public. So you're bringing a sense of pride to the clothing that these kids get to pick from.
Yes, we try our best to do the brand names and no holes, no stains.
Yeah.
These kids are just like everybody else's kids. My kids, I have several of my own kids. They want the brand names.
Yeah.
The teenagers, they don't want to be wearing Walmart clothes. They want the Adidas and the Nike. So we try to cater as best we can to these, the nice sneakers, the expensive jackets. We can't always, but they should at least have 2 or 3 pieces of the very nice clothes, and then a backup suitcase, a backup bin of clothes. And we just try our best.
Right.
And those clothes that we can't use, we have other charities that we work with that can take those type of clothes, so nothing goes to waste. We find somewhere for everything to go.
That's excellent. Now, approximately how many people do you serve in the course of a month or a year?
I would say between maybe about 20 families a month, but over Christmas is our biggest event. We gave away over 975 brand new toys to 65 families and 150 foster children in the month of December. So in December we expand and give out toys and Christmas type items that we collect all year in my attic.
This must be a full-time job. Just
no,
rounding it all up and
I
keeping
have a
track of it?
full-time job, and I have 5 kids.
Wow.
But we just it just becomes second nature to us. It's definitely a part-time job, but it's a labor of love that we just love to do. So it doesn't seem like work to us.
Right. And I noticed on your Facebook page, you also promote events that are sponsored by or sponsored for foster families. Can you talk a little bit about the other things that foster families can connect with?
We recently just started back up due to COVID, but we just had an ice skating party where any local foster family came. There was probably about 30 kids and their families, and they skated for free with skate rentals, and we had pizza. We gave away pajamas and gifts for the foster moms, because the foster moms work the hardest, I swear.
Sure.
I mean, foster dads do too, but and then we had last week we had over Christmas vacation we had a free movie screening, and on this past Martin Luther King Day we did a roller skating party.
That's great.
So it's just a great, they can come for free and they can enjoy themselves. The foster parents can come together and sit around and talk, and it's really a community.
Yeah.
And we've kind of, it was kind of sad over COVID because we didn't all get
Right.
together. So it's nice to see us, all these foster families come back together again.
Right. I was going to ask you what other groups you kind of partner with, because there must be, it must be, especially for someone who's fostering for the first time, that's a whole new world. How do you support them for other than the clothing and obviously the essentials that the kids need? How do you support them in the whole process and the emotional toll?
I will say that we try to we'll have not support, but if we have an event, we'll always have like we might have a room with like donuts and coffee, and we encourage the foster moms to go in and have a little rest. Talk amongst themselves. And I just think that the camaraderie that we see in these events, these people know that they're going to go, and they're going to go and see the foster families that they know will understand them in a way that no other foster, we call it the sisterhood. And it's just, they understand. If you tried to have many of the conversations that I have with foster moms with someone who doesn't foster, they would like shake their head and think you were insane.
Right. We just wouldn't understand it. No, I get it. Yep.
Yes.
Because if you haven't done it, you wouldn't understand it. I learned so much just listening to your interview. You did a wonderful interview with Kathy Lenatra on her show Profiles with Kathy Lenatra that we have here on PACTV, and I learned an awful lot that I had no idea about. It's really quite fascinating how much is involved in the whole foster system. What is the greatest need that you have for the foster kids going into the spring?
Right now, for the past, we've trended with younger kids. We had a lot of like clothes and the needs, but the older kids, we weren't seeing as many coming into maybe not coming into the system, but coming to our store.
Yep.
And we really right now we're seeing as COVID starts to not go away, but we start to live with it. We're seeing a lot of teens coming into care. We're also seeing a lot of children who are overweight. And so our greatest need right now is teen clothes.
Plus size.
Women's, small, medium, and
Sure.
large, men's, which we don't usually see. But with this trend of more teens coming in and a lot of overweight children, we could use teen clothes right now. And teen clothes that you're thinking of, the Hollister and the Abercrombies and the Vans, not old lady clothes, because these are teens. They want to go. They want to look cool when they go to school.
Of course they do. Of course they do. We're going to put the information of how to get in touch with you on our screen so everyone can see it. But if people had to remember one thing, one takeaway from this interview with you, what would that be? What should people know about what you do and why it's so important?
I think that you have to think about, if one of these foster kids was your own kid, how would you want to see them dressed? How would you want to see them treated at school when they show up in these clothes? So if you're buying your kids Adidas, then these kids should wear Adidas. These kids should look like $1 million every day. And I think sometimes foster kids are given a bum rap that they're bad kids or that they deserve what they got, and that's not the case ever. These kids have never done anything to make this happen to them. So if we can help them a little bit with making them feel like, great in their new clothes then we got to do that.
Good for you. That's wonderful. Sharon, thank you so much. What you're doing is it's heart-wrenching. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story with us, and best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Sharon. For more information, visit the Southshore Foster Closet Facebook page. Set in 1959, The Bookshop is a film telling the story of a free-spirited woman who opens a bookshop in a sleepy English town, to the dismay of local merchants and the town's upper-class circle. On February 14th, join the Pembroke Public Library's movie matinee of this popular 2017 film. Showtime is from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. For more information, visit the Pembroke Public Library website. Next up, we have Mark McKinley with an all-new Snapshot.
Welcome to Snapshot, where we take a local look at the government stories that you may have missed. It may be the beginning of the year, but believe it or not, election season and town meetings are right around the corner. Duxbury will be holding its town election on March 26. If you're interested in running for office, visit the town clerk's office to pick up nomination papers. 50 signatures, certified by the town clerk, are needed to appear on the town ballot. Papers are due Monday, February 7th. And if you're not already registered to vote, the last day to do so is February 18th to participate in both the annual town meeting and town election in March. Nomination papers are also available in Kingston if you wish to be a candidate in the April town election. In addition to town elections, town meetings are being planned and our towns are in the process of putting together their fiscal year 2023 budgets. You can find preliminary budgets on the town websites under the finance departments. In addition to the dredging project in Plymouth Harbor, there's work being done on the bulkhead between Wood Seafood and the Lobster Hut. David Gould tells us more.
Hi, I'm David Gould, Director of Marine and Environmental Affairs for the town of Plymouth. And we're out at the Plymouth Waterfront this morning. And behind me to my left, you can see the bulkhead project that we're currently working on, which ironically enough, most people don't realize they actually park on. It's located between Wood Seafood and Lobster Hut. And it also is the location for the boardwalk that goes around the harbor. We're replacing all of those piles, doing some bulkhead work. We're encasing an old wooden bulkhead in concrete, and then putting in all new cross bracing and pile caps, replacing the parking so it's now safe again, and putting in extended boardwalk as well as some new lighting to light up that area in the evening and at night for pedestrians who are walking through the harbor front. This project should be done by springtime. It's about a $1.33 million project, $1 million from the Massachusetts Seaport Economic Council to the town via a grant, and $331,000 as the matching funds from the town of Plymouth. And again, should be working on it throughout the winter and be done and wrapping up in the springtime so it's ready to go for summer.
Last week, State Attorney General Maura Healey announced that Massachusetts, along with a coalition of other states, had reached a $1.85 billion settlement with Navient over allegations that it used unfair and deceptive practices in originating student loans, steering federal loan borrowers into costly long-term forbearances instead of offering counseling about more affordable repayment plans. Under the settlement, which will require court approval, Navient, formerly known as Sallie Mae, will forgive $41 million in private loans for 1,523 Massachusetts borrowers. The Commonwealth will receive more than $6 million, which includes $2.2 million for restitution for more than 8,300 federal loan borrowers. If you'd like more information about the settlement and if you're eligible, visit mass.gov/AGO/Navient. And for direct assistance, visit mass.gov/AGO/student loans. Thanks for watching this edition of Snapshot. I'm Mark McKinley, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Mark. Groundhog Day is on its way, and if you don't have plans yet, consider joining the Duxbury Free Library and the Museum of Bad Art for a virtual art exhibit, A Visit to the MOBA Zoo, presented by Curator-in-Chief Michael Frank. This exhibition showcases a collection of original art whose subject is furry or feathered beloved pets, from artists whose work isn't traditionally recognized. Curated from thrift stores, yard sales, and sidewalk trash, MOBA has been collecting and sharing art with thousands of fans since 1993. With the tagline, "Art, Too Bad to be Ignored," the Museum of Bad Art celebrates art that you won't see in your typical museum or gallery. This virtual program will take place from 7 to 8 p.m. via Zoom. Visit the Duxbury Free Library's website. And visit The Local Scene on social media or our website at pactv.org/thelocalscene for more of what's good and good to know in our area. That's this episode of Local Matters. From all of us at PACTV, have a safe and happy week. We will see you next time. Thank you for watching. We are grateful for your attention. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to the local scene here and share everywhere. Thank you, friends.